One fundamental insight of human nature is nobody wakes up in the morning saying, oh, I am going to be difficult today. And yet we find that, yeah, from our perception, some people are difficult. But again, recognize these people are not waking up in the morning saying, okay, yes, I'm going to be difficult. There's probably like a very, very tiny percentage of the population that does. Most people you're interacting with, they're not waking up in the morning thinking they're going to be difficult. So why does this happen? What is the root cause? So there are a few possibilities here that we need to understand and recognize each of those possibilities. One, and this is the elephant in the room, is that they just don't like you or you don't like each other, but you have to work with each other. So that's one possibility. Second possibility is the one that people fixate on. It's not the only possibility, but I want to call it out. It can sometimes happen that incentives are misaligned. They are trying to optimize for something, or they've been asked to optimize for something, and you've been asked to optimize for something else. And therein lies the problem. The problem with most operationally oriented product leaders is they think this is the only possibility. So anytime something like this happens, they keep going back up to executives saying, oh, we need incentives to be aligned. And you have a meeting, right? And still this kind of disagreeableness and disagreement continues forever, basically. So I want to highlight it as a possibility, but I want to caution you that it is not the only possibility, okay? Third possibility is that they're working off of different information. Now, this information can be information in the external world, but it can also be like their own processing. The way they think is fairly different than the way you think. One problem with our modern workplaces is that we don't recognize the importance of personality. But people have different personalities and you have to recognize it. And that's actually a wonderful thing because that enables, to quote a cliche, there's some to be greater than the parts. These are roughly kind of three possibilities. And then sometimes a fourth one is that this person actually has the right intent and they kind of even like you and their incentives are also aligned with yours, but their communication style is very abrasive. Like the content is aligned, but the communication is not. And so then it can come across as being very difficult. And these folks usually are cynical with everybody. You're not the only one facing this. For the first three, maybe it's possible you're one of the few ones or only ones facing it. But for this fourth one, they're going to be like that with everybody. So first you need to understand the root cause, because only if you understand the root cause can you try to address it. The key thing I'll share around what you want to do in this kind of situation is a very useful technique. And I learned this very late in my career from one of my last managers at Stripe. Just call out the elephant in the room. Just call it out because nobody does. Remember, people pay more attention to surprise. People want to be right and they want to be liked. You can derive this kind of formula of call out dispassionately without any anger or like showing overly any emotion. Call out the elephant in the room. What this means concretely is that at the right time, perhaps with this individual, you might say something like the following. Let's say this person's name is Bob. So what you say is, Bob, can I ask you a question? And why am I starting with that? You want them to say yes, because now they've let their guard down. They feel like they are in control or they have some degree of control. Of course, Bob says, yeah. Then you follow it up with, I have noticed that there is just a lot of friction in our interactions. I have been feeling it for a long time and I could only really gather up the courage to share that with you right now. It is something I've not felt with most colleagues. Sometimes I even find myself trying to avoid having a conversation because I don't want to feel this friction and this kind of animosity. And I just wanted to ask you, because I started thinking this morning, perhaps if I'm feeling this way, perhaps you are also feeling that way. I just wanted to check in on your perspective. So yeah, I'm just curious what you think. Again, you haven't made an accusation. What you've said is, I feel this way. And I'm just curious if you also feel this way. So you're almost showing care for them. And then let them speak. Look, in most cases, what will happen when you do this? First of all, they'll be shocked that you brought this up because nobody brings up the elephant. People avoid uncomfortable conversations and they admire people who can have uncomfortable conversations gracefully. And because you did it gracefully, the tone I used, the words I used, they were graceful. They were not aggressive. So what they are going to respond likely with is, oh, no, actually, it's not that bad. Or maybe they'll say, I appreciate you bringing this up because I also feel this way. And when that happens, now's the point for you to take that conversation further because now you made a breakthrough. You're no longer talking about content. Let's figure out this relationship thing first. So again, the specifics will vary and please use your judgment, but this is the way you kind of make inroads in these types of situations.